Hey everybody, I'm Marlon. Welcome to the channel, Chronic Pain Warriors United. Hope y'all are all doing really well. I think our last video release was on Monday, and I'm going to be releasing this one tomorrow on Friday. I'm filming it Thursday night, and I think that's going to be the schedule for the near future anyways. Long form videos on Monday and Friday, and then shorts in between. And to segue into that, one of the shorts I did this week was talking about the level of fortitude, will, and determination it takes for a lot of people with these chronic pains and illnesses and disorders to go about their daily lives. I've also been posting on really all the social media sites and reaching out to other groups because, like I said in that video, it's not like these chronic pains come about in a bubble all of their own accord, right? They're caused by disorders and illnesses. Mine being temporomandibular joint disorder. Others being, MS, fibromyalgia, all these different things, back pain. And that helps me segue into the beginning of the video. I just wanted to talk about all these issues in a little bit more detail that a lot of our loved ones, partners, friends, and especially the general public may not even think about or understand. And that's a big part of what we wanted to accomplish, my friend and I, when we were trying to launch Chronic Pain Warriors United, was educating the public and our loved ones about these issues to try and help improve everyone's lives, right? So real quick, the three most common causes with the data that we have, obviously, of chronic pain are the arthritises, osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis, the latter being sort of like the body attacking itself, and then many different forms of back pain that exist make up the back pain category, and then neuropathic pain from nerve damage, which can come from all kinds of things like diabetes, for instance. And then you have others that aren't as common as those, but are still extremely common, like fibromyalgia, headaches, migraines, facial pains of all kind, including what I suffer from, temporomandibular joint disorder. It's a mouthful. And a lot of these things have something in common. In many of their forms, they are not visible to the naked eye. The general public does not see anything wrong with us, and that includes our doctors a lot of times, unfortunately. Our family and friends and loved ones, partners, they can know that we're having these issues, but knowing it and actually being able to see it and identify it are two very different things. And because there's so often no visual cue with a lot of these things, it causes issues both with us mentally, our relationships, dealing with the public, and especially our doctors, as I'm going to talk about in just a second. I call us the invisible walking wounded. The medical society has a different term for it. They're called the invisible illnesses or the invisible pain. But I call us the invisible walking wounded because we are. We're very much ignored, ostracized, or put to the side when it comes to the medical community and social community. And the general public at large and the media and our government completely ignore us. And even worse than that, we have government agents interfering with our health care to the point where it is causing massive harm and has made the difficulty level of accessing effective pain management so hard for so many people, right? So that's what I call it. I call us the invisible walking wounded. And like I just said, many people can't tell that we're injured looking at us. And this comes in, I want to go over just a short list of some of the most common things that cause these illnesses and disorders that cause these issues that really don't have any visible cues a lot of time. Many of the forms of arthritis, as I said, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, IBS, facial pain and TMJD, complex regional pain syndrome, lupus, a lot of times MS, many forms of back pain and migraines. It goes on and on and on. And a lot of people would have no idea that I'm one of the invisible walking wounded. The scars from my surgery on the sides of my face are minuscule. Only a loved one or a partner that's very close to me can see them. And there's no visible cue that I have anything wrong unless I'm wearing my mouthpiece, which I do almost all day long. And I don't wear it for these videos, obviously, because I talk like this. It wouldn't work. But I've had these comments both on X, Reddit, and other places. Well, Marlon, how the heck are you doing these videos if your jaw joints are damaged so badly? Because economy of motion. I've learned to economize the motion of my joints, my eating, speaking, and everything else. And I'm actively choosing to give a large portion of my speaking time on filming days to filming. And I also will have to spend a little bit of time recovering afterwards. Talking for 15, 20, 30 minutes at a time has its consequences for me. But nobody would know that just looking at me. And it's the same thing for so many of you. And it causes a lot of problems, both public, doctor, and family. It causes problems with mental health and what we call mental defeat. It's like so many issues just stack up against us over and over and over, and we start to give in. We just can't take it mentally. We feel like there's so many barriers in front of us, so many mountains to overcome. The pain doesn't stop. People aren't believing us, and we're not being treated properly, either medically or socially. And that leads to a lot of mental health problems, depression, anxiety, which it's hilarious to me as a aside real quick. The CDC in one of their papers I'm going to link to in this video talks about how anxiety and depression are signifiers of chronic pain issues, that they're trying to say that those things can cause or are the source of some people's pain, and it's mental. I'm like, it doesn't take a genius medical doctor to figure out, oh, huge numbers of people with chronic pain, illnesses, and disorders have these mental health issues because of the disorders. Anybody who's living with chronic pain constantly is going to have some form of depression, anxiety, and a large percentage of us will have self-harm ideation. I mean, up to 30 to 40%, and I believe it's even higher than that. But yeah, I mean, these mental health and mental defeat is a huge issue. And people not being able to even know that we have these issues, and our loved ones and our partners especially, and our friends, and how it affects how they treat us, is the biggest impact. This is one that I really have an issue with, and I came to grips with it over Christmas. We're expected to make others feel better about our situation. It's like when our loved ones are passing away or something, and the people who are passing away are the ones trying to make the people who are not feel better. What? We do this constantly. We try and make those around us feel better about the situation in general, us, and we put on an act through a lot of our personal, private, and public interactions. Over Christmas, I had family ask me, why aren't you interacting more? And for the first time in my life, I laid it out for them. because almost every single interaction I have to have with you and the people here right now is fake. I have to fake the smile. I have to fake the laugh. I have to fake what I'm doing in order to make you all feel better. And there's all kinds of psychological and societal things going on there that I'm not going to get into. But it's another thing that our family members and loved ones don't even think about a lot of times. Everyday tasks can be a huge challenge when your energy levels are quickly drained and your body feels like it's constantly fighting the flu. I have a couple of people in the support groups that I know that are going through maybe like COVID-like symptoms or whatever, and they're talking about, I need to get over this. And they don't have chronic pain issues. They just help with one of the sites. But they're like, I have to get over these issues, blah, blah, blah. I feel so run down. And somebody else commented, well, that's how we feel pretty much all the time. And that struck me as so true. I mean, when it feels like your body constantly has the flu, the aches, the pains, the drained energy every day, all day, and they have no comprehension of it. And they wonder why you're not wanting to do this or wanting to do that, or why don't you have the energy to do this? And it's just like, because I spent all my energy doing that last thing. Anyways, another one is, and this is a hard one for even a lot of us, and it's part of the stages of grief people have to go through, all kinds of stuff. For a lot of the people who have chronic illnesses, disorders that come with chronic pain, it doesn't stop, and it never will. That's part of the chronic, and that's a real issue, especially for our loved ones and partners. We come to terms with it much quicker because we're living it, but they don't. They really don't. It takes them a long time, if ever, to get to terms with the chronic and chronic illness, disorder, and pain. And the vast majority of them, I would say, never do come to terms with it. And it causes massive issues in our relationships, especially the romantic ones, as I'm about to show you. The financial stress on our lives. And many of you will have heard me talk about some of these issues in like the relationship videos and things like that. And yeah, but we will be coming back to these issues pretty often because they have such a big impact on our lives and on us and the people around us in general. So they're really important for the general public to really start to understand, but especially our loved ones and partners who are living with us and who really may not even have a true understanding of what you go through because you don't want to hurt their feelings. I will show them these videos and I'll be the one. I'll take the blame. I'll do whatever. I'll be the one to be blunt about the situation and tell them how you actually feel without you having to do so. How many of us feel like that though? I mean, there's been times when I would have loved to have had somebody else saying the things that I'm saying so that I could show loved ones or family members. I've just gotten to a point now where it's like nobody's saying it. I'm going to climb up on the table and do so. But the financial stress, as many as 45% of us with high impact chronic pain either can't work or had to drastically cut the amount and type of work that we were doing. And that causes and exasperates all of the issues we've already talked about. I mean, talk about taking it to 11, the mental health problems, the isolation, the day-to-day issues, and even when you're perfectly healthy, think about that, and financial stress comes into your life, think about what that does to your relationships. Now put chronic pain, illness, and disorders into the mix. It's like nuclear fire on gasoline. And just to give you another example of me personally, most of the time I'm working with my family business And I try to, well, I don't try, I make jewelry as something, that I like to do and that I make money with on the side from time to time. But pretty consistently before this. I've given up a lot of that to do this. But those things are, especially the jewelry and stuff, I've had to walk back and give up a lot of my time that I was contributing to those things just because I can't do it. I just can't. The wear and tear on my body is too much, and the mental output it just exceeds what I'm able to give. And people don't think about the mental output. It's elevated many times over for just normal things. So the financial stress is absolutely destructive. And then, as I said, the relationships, it can absolutely destroy our relationships because of all these things. Inability to communicate, inability to connect with one another and understand one another, inability or unwillingness to say the blunt truth, all of these things. Then your partner feeling like I'm being limited in life because of them, resentment builds, and here we go, right? And that's why the Pain News Network survey from a few years ago showed that up to 75% of those of us dealing with high impact chronic pain have failed marriages. My fiance of 4 years walked away, and I have no doubt that this was a big part of it. Another friend I had, his marriage, 13 years, she walked away because the financial stress coupled with all of those other things just blew it apart. Up to 75%. I mean, that's just devastatingly sad. Then isolation. All of these things above cause isolation. And then add on to that financial troubles, and that causes even bigger isolation and more issues because you can't do the things you want to do. You can't interact. You can't pay for social outings like you may have used to have done. Another example for me personally, I've had to use, seizures first caused me not to be able to drive and use a vehicle for quite a while. And then on top of that, after my financial issues became what they started to decline, vehicle wreck and everything took my car from me. And ever since then, because of seizures and then also decreased income, I never bothered replacing it. I've just used Uber and stuff like that. But now that I've finally gotten past a point of time to where, legally I could start driving again with seizures being held at bay with marijuana and things like that, I'm wanting to do that. But the financials come into play, but again, see, that's just another example of, and I'm sure that exact same scenario has played out countless times to people who may watch this video. It's just another example of how you can wind up becoming more isolated due to financial stress. And all of these things just compound one another. And then lastly, of course, the difficulty of obtaining effective pain management makes all of these issues so much worse. We have a very, very hard time right off the bat as those suffering from chronic pain, illnesses, and disorders without cops playing doctor deciding who gets pain relief and who doesn't. That will be another video that I'm doing probably next week. Healthcare 1984 style. You really want government-run healthcare? You really want, these people deciding what, who, and when gets treated? We have the examples of it. We have the DEA, they are all but deciding which and every single individual person gets pain relief and which ones don't. And doctors do still have some leeway here and there, but if the DEA comes in and says, we don't think you should be treating that person, That's it. What are they going to do? And that's also another video for later. The doctors in this country absolutely sold their patients down the tube. It's one of the saddest things I've ever seen. Anyways, let me know. A lot of us, I imagine almost all of us, will have had issues like I'm talking about. Please go down into the comments and share your stories with us. As I've said in every single video since I started releasing these, our plan and our goal is for reform and educating the public. And your stories are you as an individual, a unique and special individual. And they are going to be absolutely critical to showing the public what's happening and helping to achieve reform. Just like you, they're unique and special. So please leave us your stories. Hit that like button and the subscribe button at the end. I'm Marlon with Chronic Pain Warriors United. I hope y'all have a great Friday as we release this, and then rest of the weekend. Y'all be well and cheers.